Hey guys, and welcome back to MotoringBox. I'm here in the garage with my VT Calais, which is not really what I had planned. You see, I stuck this car up on eBay about a week ago and I was really stoked when the auction finished yesterday and I found out that the winner was actually a fan of the MotoringBox YouTube channel. Unfortunately, not even an hour had passed since the auction completed where he actually got in touch with me and said he wasn't going to pay. So I guess that means I'm stuck with it. But rather than dwell on all the negativity associated with that auction, I thought I'd get the car back in the garage here and try and fix something which has really bugged me about it ever since I've owned it. This dent right here. So this is Dent Pulling 101 with a beginner teaching you hopefully how to do it. Stick around. So as I mentioned, I'm a complete beginner at this. I've never actually pulled a single dent out of a car before. So naturally I went on Google, did a couple of searches, found a tutorial video on how to do it, and even found a kit on eBay for just $36, which contains a whole lot of stuff, which will hopefully allow me to do it. So let's take a look and see what's actually in this box.
So firstly, you've got your hot glue gun, which looks incredibly cheap, but as long as it works. Next up, we've got 4 high temperature glue sticks and a 5th one which I've already got loaded into the gun. Next up, we've got the dent puller itself, and I'm sure you can already imagine how this thing works. And then we have this bag of plastic glue tabs of varying different sizes and shapes. We've even got these very fashionable white gloves to protect your hands from the hot glue, I imagine. A very cheap looking microfiber cloth, and also a bag of these little plastic tools which you can use in conjunction with the hammer. We've also got a plastic scraper which can be used to scrape off any of the glue still stuck on the panel. We've got a hammer, a spray bottle, and also the instructions, which don't really inspire me with a lot of confidence, but they do at least have a little Kia Optima K5 down here at the bottom.
I actually used to own one of these cars, but that's a story for another time. Seeing as I'm a man, I'm just going to throw these away because I'm pretty sure I know how this kit works.
So firstly, we're going to rub down the panel to remove any waxes, grease or oils which would prevent the glue from sticking to it. I'm just using some household grade surface wipes here which seem to do the job. So wipe the panel down and dry it off. Now, because the eBay seller was generous enough to include some gloves, I'm definitely going to use them. They're hardly stylish, but they should protect my hands from the hot glue, should it go astray. Now that we're all gloved up, we need to try and work out which glue tab we want to use. Because this dent is quite large, I'm actually going to go for the biggest one, but if you're having difficulty trying to decide, just hold them up to the dent and see which one you feel fits it best. Now that the hot glue gun is all warmed up, I'm going to start applying some glue to the center of the glue tab and then working my way around to the outside. I've found out that applying a fairly thick layer seems to work best. All the way out to the outside and then stick it onto the panel as quickly as you can. You don't want to apply a super crazy amount of pressure, otherwise all the glue is just going to ooze straight out. So just apply a moderate pressure for a couple of seconds. Give the tab approximately 4 to 5 minutes in order to dry. Once you're satisfied that it's securely stuck in place, it's time to grab the dent puller and position it over the thread of the glue tab. The exact position which you need to put this dent puller in will really depend on what part of the panel you're working on. In this example, I think it sits really nice on the edge of the guard, and also the legs on this dent puller can swivel around so it can really sit on any surface you like. Once you're happy, you can start screwing on the handle. So as the name might suggest, this dent puller will actually pull the glue tab out as you tighten the handle. If we speed this up a little bit, you can actually see the guard coming out as I tighten it up. And really, it's up to you to kind of eyeball it and make sure you're not pulling out the panel too far. But in my experience, the glue tab will usually come unstuck once you reach the correct height. After the first pull, I'd estimate that I've probably pulled out 70 or 80% of the dent, so there's only a little bit further to go. You'll also notice that there's a little crease above the dent, which I'm going to take care of afterwards. So to attempt to pull this dent out properly, I've got my glue tab stuck on again and we're going to give it a second shot. I've decided to reposition my dent puller this time around, not for any particular reason, but I think it wouldn't hurt to try it from a couple of different angles. Again, as I'm screwing the handle, you can see the panel really starting to pull out, so we're definitely on the right track here. At this point, it was getting really hard to turn it and I really didn't want to pull the guard out any further than I had to, so I thought I'd reposition the dent puller a little bit and try again. It's actually starting to look really good now, so I started wiggling the dent puller itself to try and release the grip of the glue. Success! But we've got some glue residue left over, so you can either scrape that off yourself, or if it's a little bit stubborn, you can get some goo remover or isopropylene rubbing alcohol, something like that. So now that the main dent is fully removed, I'm going to have a go at this little crease to see if I can improve it or remove it entirely. And I'm going to do that exactly the same way as before, using a smaller glue tab this time around and then repositioning the dent puller to suit. I actually repeated this process about 3 or 4 times on this little crease here, and I was able to get it out probably 50 or 60% of the way. I wasn't able to remove it entirely, but it definitely is a lot better than it was. And lastly, I noticed the original dent probably needed to be pulled out just a little bit further to smoothen the lines of the guard, so I'm going to give it one last try. You can keep attempting to pull the dent out as much as you want, but you'll get to a point where you're going to get diminishing returns, so I removed the remaining glue residue and gave this portion of the panel a bit of a polish. After wiping off the residue, I'm pretty happy with how the panel's looking, but let's get it out into the sun and take a look at it.
That's it guys, we're done. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to pull out 100% of the dent. I got rid of the big one, which was by far the most visible dent in the videos you would have seen previously. But unfortunately, there's a little crease above this dent, which I wasn't able to pull out 100%. I reckon I got it halfway there, but unfortunately, the little glue tabs just weren't able to provide enough power to rip it out. To do it properly, you'd probably have to take the wheel off, take out the inner guard lining, and then beat the crease out with a hammer. But I don't actually have a jack which is low enough to get under this car in the first place, so I'm going to hit that at a later date. But you know what? For now, I'm super happy with the results. For just 36 bucks, I've got this car looking really good. From 5 meters away, you can barely even spot it. And beyond, forget about it. Of course, a professional could do a much better job, but you're also paying them money for their expertise. So if you've got a car which is worth more than this one, by all means, pay a professional to do a proper job. Some professionals will charge you up to $100 per dent to pull them out. So it's up to you to make the call on which way you want to go with it. So what did you think of my cheap as chips, slightly dodgy dent repair technique? Let me know in the comments below. And of course, if you've got any tips and tricks on how I could have done this better, please do let me know, because I'm all about learning and self-improvement, just like all of you are, I'm sure. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.